evening and welcome. As a content advisory, what follows next contains themes of self-harm and depression. Viewer discretion is advised. This play has been an especially challenging piece of art to portray in a time of loss and grief around this campus. Our art is always a reflection of our reality, and sometimes this reflection comes closer to stare us in the eye. A fortnight ago, we were confronted with a choice, whether or not to go ahead with this play. And we decided to deal with this new reality a couple of weeks ago in our own way, by going back to our art, by being around the people we love in a space that has helped us make sense of our grief. We hope that just as our journey with the play has helped us work through our lingering sense of loss, it helps you with yours. Welcome to the Black Box for our production of Conscience of the Night starring Hemlata Sarkar. Remember to keep your phones on silent. Do not partake in flash photography. This is theatre. We must respect its untimeliness with respect and silence. And do not eat any food inside the auditorium. We have enough of a mess to clean up in our lives before we graduate. On that note, we put up this performance tonight in the memory of the late Professor Hemanta Sarkar. May he rest in peace.
That last note lingered on for a bit longer. Welcome everyone. We'll pass an attendance sheet down the circle. Kindly remember to sign your names. The updated syllabus should be up on Google Classroom. Kindly go through that as well. Now that we have the technicalities out of the way, let us get down to the real stuff. We'll interrupt our regular schedule for a special reading of Hamlet today. This lecture will be divided into 5 parts. Let us begin with the first act, a denial of madness. Act 5, Scene 1. Hamlet was in exile, but he's on his way back now. He was charged with madness, a madness inexplicable to all and an object of investigation within the play. The investigation yields that perhaps it is because his father died 2 months ago. Perhaps it is because of his dashed romance with Ophelia, something I'm sure a lot of you relate to. But perhaps it is because of his mother's incestuous marriage with his uncle, who is now his father as well as his king. T.S. Eliot famously remarks that Hamlet's grief and agony have no object correlated within the play. It remains a mystery as to why he reacts with such grief to the contents of the play. Another interesting question is, why does it keep an audience so enchanted with its enactment, centuries upon centuries? I posit that Hamlet's grief can be better understood by looking at his monologue about Yorick.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of the most excellent fancy. He has borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now, how abhorred my imagination he is.
Hamlet's imagination has failed him at critical points in the play so far. He keeps wanting to express his grief, but he only talks about his desire to do so. Yet, this monologue is his most eloquent expression of grief so far. For the first time, we actually hear the feeling of it in his words. He doesn't intellectualize it. As he talks while looking at the rotten skull.
My God, Rinzadeh, here hung those lips I have kissed I know not how long. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on the road. Not one now to mock your own grilling. Quite chapfallen.
Death has been the cause of great misery for Hamlet so far. And yet now he takes a perverse pleasure in mocking the dead Yorick. By spending time with the frozen skull and its frozen smile, he's reminded of how death has frozen him in his place too. He realizes the pleasures of tragedy despite himself. Grief must be horrific. It must be unpleasurable. Yet why does he keep coming back to it again and again like an itch that feels better when scratched?
What is this? A play? A lecture?
Now get you to my mother's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick. With this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that.
He asks the immobile skull to scurry along to the lady's chamber to reveal the nature of death to his mother. This is ironic, doubly so, because throughout the course of the play he has been asked to scurry along from his grief. The image of Hamlet holding up a skull is an image frozen in time. Yet we forget that he delivers this monologue in the company of others. Like Hamlet, our imagination isolates moments of aesthetic wonder, moments of pleasure where even grief is turned into an event. And we keep coming back to these again and again. Because while grief may be immobile, it attracts all towards it. We sit in our places, horrified that we are frozen, and yet smiling at the madness of a man again and again and again.
Alas, poor mother, poor father. I walked in at 10:15 p.m. to find the one that I loved the most just here, dead. A heart attack, says the doctor, but I contest by natural causes. The family were in an awful hurry to burn the body. It smells of connections, of influence, of a conspiracy. Oh, mother, how do you like the play?
The professor speaks too much, I think.
Married just now and already a mirror of your new spouse. This marriage is truly meant to be.
What are you doing? We are here to watch the play, Hemlata.
This is just it. This is just the beginning. And it goes on for a couple more months, mind you. During which my father's body is cremated duly and without a post-mortem. And his papers sent away to another corner of the world to be preserved in a prestigious library. Why did you send them away again? Because it would be easier to forget, or because no one would ask you questions about why you took a piece of paper from his desk? What's the matter, mother?
We go somewhere more private.
This is private.
This would offend your father.
The dead one or my new one?
We came here to support you. I thought you'd use these 2 months trying to process your grief with this stuff.
I am processing my grief. That's not to stay in denial for too long. That's what you said, right?
In private.
Him?
What have I done for you to mock me in front of the entire faculty today?
You mocked yourself in front of them already. You really couldn't wait for that man to finish the course he took over from my father before marrying him now, could you?
Is this why you've forgotten about me these past 2 months? Because you're too busy figuring out how to mock his memory?
Mock him? His memory? Me? Look at this. These are my father's final words. He died in his sleep. Flat of the window.
You just played it out. This is not appropriate.
Except those aren't his final words, are they? Because he died with a pen in his hand and ink on his fingers. And yet, when I walked into this time, the pages were all dry. You were acting suspicious the entire night. You took something from him, didn't you?
No, I took nothing.
And this man you've polluted our house with, look at him! Scum of the earth, do you not have eyes? Do you not have ears to hear him speak? God, he's ready for my voice every time he talks. He's polluted my mind, he's poisoned yours.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh? Then apologize.
What do you mean?
We shouldn't have intruded upon this moment of madness. But sometimes, visitations to the past are necessary to remind us of the blunted purpose. We as a university have always espoused for justice, sometimes more in our words than our actions. But if unjust death is not enough to stir us into action, will we truly advocate for the alternative? To bear the injustice of death in silence.
apologize to my father, your forsworn husband.
Your father? My God, you've gone completely mad.
Apologize to him!
No, what?
My father is standing right there!
I see nothing there. You're genuinely gone mad.
Hindita, we have had enough. I think all of us here have had quite enough.
You call me mad, but I know a hawk from a handsaw. The honorable guests invited here tonight to honor the memory of my father were also invited to honor my father when he was living, to celebrate his securing tenure on the day he died. None of you are leaving until we figure out who killed my father.
February the 28th, 2025. Each classic murder mystery begins with a death. It is the possibility of murder that sets the game afoot. I never thought I'd be involved in a murder investigation myself, much less as the cops. So here's the pop quiz. If the first step is the inciting incident, then the next step is not only of investigation, but what? Any takers? Yes,
A feeling of anger?
precisely. Death has visited your doorstep. How can you look away without feeling disgust at the tragedy unfolding in front of your eyes? How can you answer the madness without entering the second act of grief itself? The path of anger.
Dad, come out. She literally got tenure today. All the guests are waiting.
They're here already.
Well, you can afford to be late for a guy who does something as timely as being Professor Shakespeare.
No one calls me that.
They call me something that I can't call my own father.
I think some of them would prefer if I went away already.
Maybe a desk feels that way too sometimes. What are you writing?
Doesn't matter much. You know, Ham, you used to read your books in the lawns instead of playing with the other kids at the university housing.
Mom used to get so annoyed.
Because you dirty the books.
No, because she wanted me to be more like her.
No, it's not like that. She just wanted the best for you.
And you?
Can we not do this tonight, Ham?
And when?
Just not tonight. I'm happy today.
I used to look up to Anwar. You know that?
He's been a friend of the family since some time.
Don't insult my intelligence, Dad.
I never have, Ham.
I used to trust him, you know. I remember. He would read me stories from his books when you and Mom would be fighting, and God, I was still so young, and those books, they were for children of my own age. How could you let that man into our house?
He was there for me even when your mother wasn't.
And now he's there for my mother when you aren't.
Can we just drop it for today, Ham?
Can't just go up and pretend that all this isn't a sham.
It isn't. I couldn't take being abroad. I was such a lonely man. I just wanted to quit my PhD and come back home to you and to your mother. Anwar was a master's student back then, so much younger. He reminded me of why I made the sacrifices I had.
Their life wouldn't have been so bad, you know, if it was just us instead.
I came back, didn't I?
I wish Anwar never did.
I'm really proud of you. Darling, could you make me a cup of coffee? My head's getting awful foggy again.
Sorry?
You know how I love it when you make it.
Dad, that's not your cue to say that.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
You're not to be sorry for anything.
But I am. I miss the walks we used to take, Ekachi.
That's your wife, that's not me.
Those were the days, no? Reading our poetry, walking by the riverside, in blissful love. I saw Hem the other day, sitting on the swing. She really has your eyes. In some ways, she reminds me of Anmay too. So many young hearts. So much promise.
You were young too. Once.
I think I became better by the end. I'm sorry. I thought if I kept doing what I love, that I could go on forever, that we could go on forever. That I needed nothing but my promises to fulfill, and the rest would just stay silent.
You know what? I'm gonna go fetch you a cup of coffee.
She'll walk in a few moments. See me with my head collapsed on the table. Dead.
What the hell are you doing, Himlata? You can't keep us here against our wills.
No one's keeping you here against your will.
What do you mean?
I mean, my mother's previous husband is anything to go by. You should have your will.
I apologize, everyone. She's still been poisoned by grief. It springs from her father's death. We shouldn't be doing this around people.
Oh no, we do. Because ever since you stepped into my home and into my father's shoes, I have been exiled. I have been exiled into eating and sleeping and living in this library day in and out just because you couldn't bear to see the other half of my mother's life. How could you?
I've always thought of you like my own daughter.
And my mother like your own wife.
Hey,
Don't call me that.
what do you want me to say?
The truth!
Truth? I thought this theatre business would help you cope, move on. I didn't think this would push you further away from sanity.
See this? He thought it was a spectacle. And yet, Professor Anmay Mishra doesn't walk out because he knows he's guilty in both manner and in tone. God, I wish you and my father never met. I wish we were not in the same city. I wish I never thought of you like a second father. I wish he never offered you a job in this university.
He was a kind man.
Oh?
You want to hear the truth? His intellect was the size of a galaxy and an ego that was somehow even bigger. He had pushed everyone away. He found an opening in the university and he had no one else. So he asked me to apply.
Did he convince you to marry his own wife too? Did he convince you to take over his course? Or were you just too lazy to find your own lover? Too lazy to make your own syllabus?
This is pitiful, Himlata. She's clearly been divided from herself and her fair judgment. And without it, we are all pictures, mere beasts.
You can't preach like my father.
Never intended to.
Kakshi. Where did it go wrong?
You should shave. People will look at you for once.
You've always looked at me.
And I've always hated that beard.
I thought you liked me for my mind.
A woman just can't live off that, you know.
You have your other sources for all that now.
Let's not make it about that.
I got the papers delivered to my office today.
We can talk about this tomorrow.
Okay. Sure. What are you making tonight then?
You always love me for my cooking, no?
Don't make me sound like such a man.
I'll tease you to your grave. No matter what happens next. I hope you know that, right?
I wish we knew each other better.
No one understood me like you did.
Your books, your plays, your wines, your newspaper columns. You had everything you needed in them. I wondered why you ever needed me.
I did.
No, you did. That's why you feel no guilt about any of this. If you never seem to need anything, everything that you get is just a blessing. That's what your Karorpati father told me. It was a secret to a good life. On our wedding day.
You hated him.
He was a pretentious douchebag.
That's my father you're talking about. He was much worse.
I tried to be a good dad to him.
You pushed me away.
I know I did. But I didn't mean to. I just didn't know any better back then.
Really? That's the truth. It was always a family of two. I was the Sanders. You took her away into your office, gave her books before her age to read them had come. You knew she'd never need any friends that way.
I just wanted to protect her from her lonely life. So that she knows she had herself no matter what. You know how she grew up. She didn't have any friends her own age to hang out with.
You made it such that she never needed her mother either. Even in the years you were gone.
That's just false, Ekakshi.
It's the truth. You knew Hamlet and Macbeth and Othello were never any match for her lame old mother.
She despised being idle.
You made her despise her mother.
You always were an idle woman.
I really wish I never married you.
Let us interrogate the suspects. We'll find out the truth today.
And now we come to the third act, a bargain with the witnesses. This stage might be the most crucial, for it is here that you bargain with yourself. Try and get over the grief at hand. And also for more information to help make sense of the mystery. It is important in our line of work to ask for stakes. Why? Why do we do what we do? The why of things has always bugged me. It reduces the thing to its function, as if something has the right to exist only if we can figure out why it is there in the first place. Like a dead father monologuing on stage, delighted by his death as a whodunit. Or as we shall now witness, why these people were at the house that day.
Suspect 1, Ekakshi Sarkar, now ceremoniously known as Ekakshi Mishra, serving the guests but disappearing for long periods throughout. A companion of mine, but never a constant one. Suspect 2, Anvay Mishra, my father's best friend and man who rose from a humble childhood to the insides of the elites. A big presence in my early years until he moved away and then came back again a couple years ago. Suspect 3, Lakshya Prasad, the department manager, the logistics head. Been around as long as the university, and yet when he tries to display his intellect and indulge in intellectual conversation, people tend to act as if they're constipated. Suspect 4, Nikith Rajaram, the PhD student my father was an advisor to. Always hanging around the department, even though everyone predicts he'll be the next one to leave it. Stuck in the corners of parties, his PhD thesis is appropriately about those living in the margins of society.
What is happening? How did I get? Hey, Lata, I came here to support you in your grief, and you trapped me in this madness. I need to leave.
I must be cruel, only to be kind. Thus, bad begins and worst remains behind. Let us catch the conscience of the night. We were all in the living room, with people moving in and out. My father kindly came out of his study at 8:30 p.m. Come on, guys. Conscience makes cowards of us all.
Come all. Thank you for being here today. Though the wounds of my youth are still young, the world has awarded me my old age by granting me tenure at this university. But do not think twice about keeping my years. I hope all of you have a good feast here today. And I'm quite glad that some of you from the department have invited yourselves to this occasion. Ham, what am I supposed to do now?
Doesn't matter what you do, you just wiggle around for a bit.
I wasn't supposed to say that last bit, was I?
You did say it. I wonder why.
The words just slipped from my tongue. I don't really remember why. A couple of them here. I don't remember why I said it. But being a bit blunt doesn't matter, does it? My room is closed but not locked. I will be dead in an hour and a half. Who could have gotten in to murder me?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Let me just trace who was where and you. I remember you happened when my father became his speech at 8:45 p.m. Was it?
Yes?
Big congratulations, sir. These speeches. Looking forward to seeing more of them from you this year. They suit you.
Why, thank you, Lakshya. But I think I'll just spend time working on my book.
Oh, what kind? What about?
It's about tragedies.
What kind?
Shakespearean?
That makes sense, I suppose. To you, I mean.
Yes.
Wanting to hear the furthest thing from tragedy, though, Professor. You're in line to be the next department HOD.
It is true, yes. What do you want, Lakshya?
I just wanted to know your opinion on the latest television.
There's plenty of them.
The one put forward by the Oxford Press.
I think I only glanced over it once.
I picked it up and I realized just how fascinating it was. The specters haunting that place. I mean, they make things out to be so much. In lieu of the fact that there is a nothingness pervading any attempt at signification. The nothingness itself seems to encompass a subtle spectre hanging over the play. One that can never really reach the object of its own haunting.
What do you want, Lakshya?
You see, sir, the department has planned a Telenor conference for next year. And I need you to sign off on the budget for that. And a little tight money-wise right now, so we need to do some rationing. Much like all the lovely wine you must have saved up for the
Can you please just shut up?
What?
I don't want to hear your drivel on this night of all.
But sir, I emailed you about needing to meet and you said to just talk it over at the party.
I did?
Yeah, don't you remember?
Of course I remember, but can we please just get to it when we get to it?
Sir, I'm aware of your famous dislike for that author. But the department seniors are really pushing for this to be some sort of legacy securing conference. We have some really big names lined up already.
That's alright. But I've got to take a leak now.
My father spent an entire lifetime at this university ignoring your every attempt at intellectual conversation. Didn't he?
I didn't care what he thought of my intellect. He was acting strangely these past couple of months. Forgetting appointments, forgetting to sign approvals. One time he even forgot who I was just because I'd shaved my beard. I just pitied the man, okay? Clearly the stress was getting to him. And he took it out by being crueler than usual.
You're the fifth of 9 kids, no?
What?
Did no one ever let you speak as a kid?
That's highly insulting.
Brevity is this sort of bit.
You've had years of him dismissing you. Decades of everyone dismissing you. Dreams of becoming a PhD yet only ending up with just a PhD because your friends didn't have fun.
That's very personal information.
Please, you tell everyone you meet about your stories.
And I have a right to be proud of how far I've come in life.
This ring comes out right there.
And you knew that if you didn't get the funds secured, the department was going to fire you. It's much easier than removing someone from the position of head right after they gave him tenure.
So what's your theory? Dynamic duo? Then I was just lying in wait, ready to poison the cup the moment the professor said no to a Derrida conference.
Who knows? You know how far you've come in life, and you knew how easy it would be for you to slip all the way back down again.
In fact, the other day you told me you didn't mind if that bastard just left tomorrow. That is confidence. You told me that drown. Well, half a drink.
That was unnecessary. And have none of you geniuses ever heard of hyperbole?
My father finally walked out of his study at 8:55 p.m. And you had to send right back to him. You'd been carrying it around for a while.
I was being courteous. Sue me.
To the man who just insulted you. Once again.
None of you know how it is to have to care for a big family, okay?
I thought you spent most of your money in the department's poker games.
If you're done assassinating my character in front of my employers, might I add, I'll have you know that when he walked out, I handed the cup back to him. And I never spoke to him for the rest of the party. In fact, I'd only picked up the cup because I saw him walking out. Other than that time, I didn't speak to him for the entirety of the party. I was too busy socializing and talking to everybody else.
What if the deed was already done by then?
Though this be madness, then there is method in it. I'm really proud of you, Ham.
Dad, it's not your cue to say that.
Isn't it?
You shouldn't be doing this. I know these people. This isn't right.
You thought you were in for a spectacle, didn't you? You think that I don't see the way all of you have been looking at me in these corridors these past 2 months? The world threw my father's death at me. And if I didn't pay, it would be a problem. Suddenly, I let it affect my master's application and my job interviews. And suddenly, I'm paying too much. Who gets to decide that? All of you are enjoying seeing me like this, aren't you?
If you try and leave before we see this through, it'll be over my dead body.
Hemlata, I know this grief. It's in your nature, but you must understand. Your father lost his father, and him his father. That's just the way it is. You can't keep us trapped here. But you, this isn't stubbornness. It's worse. You can't keep us stuck here in this madness. Because that's what this is, Hemlata, madness. Unmanly grief.
Everyone, please forgive her. She has been through a really tough time. We attended the preview, and even we didn't know it was going to turn out like this. Well, when sorrows come, they come not as single spies but in battalions. Everyone, please forgive her.
Forgiveness? I don't ask for any of your forgiveness. I don't care for your approval or your care or your concern. I am here for one reason and one reason only. What were you doing? I remember you were with me at 9:20 p.m.
So, what was it like, studying in the same university your father is in?
It's interesting, I mean, I spent my entire childhood moving around with him, so I know what life is like on these campuses.
Must be different finally being a student, no?
It feels a bit like much of the same. I just feel like he's told so many stories about college that I already know what to expect.
You can't go around not being surprised. Like I lived in a very small town my whole life with just my mother, and she really protected me. So when I came here, I changed the way I thought and who I was as a person.
Really? Must be interesting. My mother spent my entire childhood away from the household. In parties with her friends, or in galas, or in operas, or in art galleries. Whatever made her happy. Operas, I know, she likes them. The performance of it all. She took me to this partition play once. I remember. They performed it, right? And in the end, all these rich people started clapping. almost as if it was to themselves, like the duty of grief was over now and they can applaud themselves for it.
That's a bit cynical.
I know, I love my mother. She always has a way of looking at these things straight in the eye and accepting art for what it is.
Okay, how much have you drank today?
My dad.
I'm sure. I'm so glad I'm getting to talk to you today. I like in all the classes we've had together, I've really admired you.
Really, I remember you being here for quite a while, no? I remember my father advising you before it.
Yeah, I just needed an extension.
My father always liked you though.
He was one of the more promising ones. He wasn't corrupted by the big city and his ambitions. He just wanted to know more about himself. He reminded me of myself in that way.
That's not your cue.
But he got too stuck up in his own head. I told him that it really wasn't about that. It was about the words on the page. But he wouldn't believe in anything till I said yes to it. I taught you though, right?
Never depend on anyone else for your own truth.
Or your own grief. Do you feel it right now? Is it a real thing beating inside your chest? Remember him. There are more things in heaven and earth that can be dreamt of in our philosophies.
But everyone loves him.
Really? I thought he was going to be quite the asshole.
He's nothing but nice to me. I've always seen him as a father figure of sorts.
I thought he was threatening to fail your prospectus.
Well, it is a well-known fact that Mr. Rajaram just wouldn't move on from his PhD thesis. He kept delaying his submissions and Mr. Sivakarthik should be
Hemantha told me about you. He said that the two of you were getting a bit too close for his liking. He didn't want that to happen. He wanted you to move on. And you were wasting the department's money.
He would never say that. He didn't want to repeat what he had done with him with anyone else.
Don't you dare speak for my father.
He realized you were growing too dependent on him. That's why he avoided being an advisor to anyone in general.
small city, big dreams. Did he talk to you about it?
I don't know what any of this is implying.
You're from a small city too, aren't you, Lakshya? Why do you pretend like you're above it all?
Why do you pretend to be?
Because I made a name for myself, didn't I?
And I'm trying to.
And then I told him that I've been trying to. I just needed a little more time, but he wouldn't listen.
Wait, I remember you being invited to this. You invited him the other day, didn't you?
I thought maybe Hemantha would talk to him and show him some pity. At least give him one more semester to turn in his thesis.
Well, guess what? I read your thesis. It actually said nothing.
The signification of the margin is quite defined by its relationship to it. In a causal relationship.
Wait, hold on. God. This was meant to be a celebration for my father. He wasn't supposed to be here.
Is that why you didn't let me enter his office?
And
He just didn't understand the threads of my argument. Maybe they weren't to your liking, but he couldn't even recall what I was trying to do for the past year or so. I just needed him to show me the way, but he would keep forgetting to turn up to the office when we were supposed to meet, or simply just not remember my arguments.
I don't blame him.
If he couldn't help me refine my ideas because he simply just couldn't remember them, then how was I supposed to get anything onto paper? He was supposed to help me make sense of this. And he promised me that I'd be a name in this stupid world. We were so close. And he was like the father I never had. And just And then he took the call to abandon me when I needed him the most.
That was your last chance at making a name, wasn't it? Your last chance at making a name for yourself.
I'm the one asking questions here. I deserved another chance.
What really? You play the piano.
I can't.
Please, play the piano.
I truly can't give Lata. This is utter madness.
No, I beseech you.
I've never touched a piano in my life.
How about you or any of you? It's as easy as kissing ass. You keep your thumbs away for the most part and your fingers govern the keys and there are elegant tunes just like the ones you want to hear.
Sorry, but I don't think I have this gift of harmony you seem to think I do.
Oh, and why do you play upon my father? You treat him like an unworthy thing. Push his pedals, press his keys. You thought that if you got the chance to talk to him tonight, you could make him sound with the lowest note at the top of his compass.
Lata, there were rumors all over the department. No one was trying to play anyone. Your father,
You. That if you didn't speak to him tonight, he would fail you and get you thrown out of this university, which is why one of you poisoned him. I saw him with a trace of foam around his lips. One of you wiped his kiss from his mouth. One of you kept in your pockets to hide the truth. Which one of you is it? Yeah. Listen to this. Don't tell me what to do. So many tunes for you to hear, and yet you lost for my father's forgiveness and my stupidity. You can correct me, but you cannot blame me. Only some of the others who talk about dirty rumors about his wife and his best friend.
Himlata, it wasn't about his wife.
Let them be him, Lata. You cannot teach the scum of the earth to be delicate moss.
I don't have to.
Why is the sun out at this hour?
It's the spotlight.
Oh. What are we doing here? I'm not supposed to be here. I can send the morning air. I need to be dead.
Dad, please don't worry. You're with me now.
I'm sorry I wasn't a good father.
What are you talking about?
You know what these people are saying. How I was a distracted man, how I had a loose tongue. But I never thought it would. I tried to do my best by people, but I realized that you can't always be the guiding light in someone else's life. Sometimes you need to take the hard call.
Don't listen to them, Dad. You're just an honest man.
I seem to forget these moments I spent with you. But then I remember when a mother used to go out, it used to be just the two of us at home. We'd play with the books on my table and the ink on my desk, and something somewhere would fall and make a mess. We had to clean it up before your mother came back and
And what?
I tried to protect you from it all, man. I tried to be a good father.
Dad, I'm a little nervous about joining the university in teaching. It's just a little too close to home.
Don't worry, Hamid. It'll do you good. Plus, there aren't many institutions such as this across the country.
Did they pay you to say that?
Yes! I'm the guy they pay to say nice things about other people. It'll be weird. I didn't want you to come here at first. But your mother told me that I can't make that call for you.
So if you could,
I can't, that's the point. You're growing up now. You need to begin seeing things for yourself. You feel it right now, beating inside your chest. There and he'll guide you. That means you have a mind of your own and he'll guide you.
But what if I don't know what the right answer is though?
You'll figure it out, that's life. And if you're really worried about coming to the same place as your father, just think of this. Everybody thinks I'm an asshole. They take one look at you and realize you turn out much better than me.
It can't be that bad. You talk about feeling things. Can you feel them?
What do you mean?
It's just that you've read this speech out to me so many times that I can say that speech about your stupid skull before I could even do basic algebra. What if I don't want to know why and how the pain and beauty and grief of the world is felt instead of just feeling it? Even when I could feel nothing else, I could feel that. How do you do it?
I've had this copy since I was a kid. It's falling apart now. I've read it so many times, scribbled over it in so many different things, that I can hardly remember what the lines meant the first time I read them. But there's a sort of beauty to that kind of life too, isn't there? The kind of life that affords you the luxury to stay frozen in a moment and to think of why. I'll be gone soon from your life, Hem. Time goes by quickly once you leave home. Everything's a bit more unfamiliar each time you come back. As if someone's annotated over the furniture too. There's this way between my father and me, and between his father and him. Time will go by quickly now. But your beating heart will stay the same.
I should retain this moment forever.
Me too. Anyway, which stage were we at? Was it stage 3?
No, stay cool.
Ah yes, sorry. Stage 4. The guests were all quite useless. I feel myself slipping away. I'm not the man I used to be. I saw myself in all of them in different ways. I admired them. In Anmay, I saw the brilliance of youth. In Lakshya, I saw the kind of ambition that leads you anywhere in life. And in Nikhil, I saw the urge to leave home and to take a leap of faith. I don't know where it all changed. I didn't want it to. Maybe this isn't that kind of whodunit. I just left my wine on the table and then I walked back to my room because I had a sudden strike of inspiration. I ordered the food to be brought into my room because I could get away with being that sort of jerk at my own party. So yes, here's Act 4, a revelation of despair. Hem, come. We need to solve this mystery now.
I don't want to. I want to let you go.
You have a bit more thinking to do about it. You're almost there.
But if I don't want to write over the mystery of your death.
You've always been much better than me.
What if I am nothing but the quintessence of dust? Let whoever wants to leave, leave. It's alright. You were silent, sulking in the corner the entire time, as if you knew that something was about to happen.
I was just helping your mother. Because your father, he couldn't be bothered to come out to study.
Yeah, you and my mother in the kitchen all this while. It's true, isn't it? We were all in the dining table and all you two did was stay in the kitchen. As if it wasn't as obvious to me as it was to everyone else that you two had been having an affair for a while. You know how that made me feel? How others made me feel about it.
I'm so sorry.
He must have slipped into his chamber with his food. Put something in it, didn't you?
No, I didn't, Hemlata. There were other rumors around. Ones that mattered more. We shouldn't be doing this in front of people.
Oh, try that. If you think that we have the corruption of your own blood, what's murder most foul?
It wasn't.
You know, Han, the mother was a much kinder woman than she let on. She knew what she wanted for herself. She knew some battles were worth fighting, others not so much. And most of the ones worth fighting were for herself. She was kinder to herself than most other people are. That's why she is the least better person I know. She still blames me for driving you away from her. And I am to blame, I guess. But I made the best out of a bad situation. We had been drifting apart for a while. We were bound to drift into one of us.
We didn't plan for you. We were almost at the end of our masters when I got to. But then I decided to keep you. I realized I was just studying for the sake of a degree anyway. I knew I'd have some money and places to be and things to watch. I could just live my life like that for a while, without the burden of doing everything I thought I'd need to, if I got my degree.
And we wanted to get her father off our backs before we found out about the kid. So we decided to marry.
Dad, that's not your cue to say that.
I don't remember things the way you want me to. I'm sorry. That's why I wrote by hand, because I thought it would save me the trouble of things slipping past my memory so often. But I forgot anyway. I forgot so much. I think I began to forget who I was long before now. I forgot what I meant to your mother. She was bound to look at other people for more of the same. We had conversations about it. We had an arrangement.
What are you talking about, guys? Is this a joke?
Quite an elaborate one it would be, wouldn't it?
No. These are not your clients. What are you doing? This is not how things are supposed to end. Oh my god, guys. There's something quite wrong about this. I am trying to fix it, everyone. I'm so sorry for the trouble. What are you doing? Guys, how are you feeling about the performance tomorrow?
Pretty good.
Forward to
I know the climax has been a little strange to rehearse, but trust the vision, we just need to go over it one more time. Anything to note?
spot, please actually take a little bit of time.
So you're gonna have to close it a couple seconds early every time, that's okay, right?
Let's just change it on confused.
Alright. Really sincere.
Thanks. I borrowed it from my roommate.
He looks really good on you.
Thank you.
Anyway, how are sounds looking?
Yeah, I think it's loaded. I think it should be.
Did you download the heartbeat audio I told you about?
I might have forgotten to.
Yeah, alright. Okay, let's just go from the top to the bottom of the climax. Let's just keep it light today. It'll take how long to set everything up? About 15 minutes or so. Great. Take out. Done. Ending monologue from top to bottom, and remember, Jet.
Anon, I found them. The two scheming against my back, but I was not aware of it all until it was too late. To submerge within the pleasures of the play I was editing an anthology for. A collection of tragedies I was preparing. Oblivious to the one that came for me. I died. poisoned by the wine and dine offered to me by the loves of my life. Still unaware till I began choking on the inevitability of what was happening to me. I forgot my line.
My script right now. Please try to remember.
Don't you think a monologue goes on for way too long?
Please proceed.
This remains the perennial condition of the tragedy. Those who commit it get away so off without a care in the world.
The perennial condition of tragedy.
With a veil of ink, I wrote and wrote in my final moments, as if tragedy is when we truly confront ourselves to answer the why of our lives. Not by answering it, but by doing what is truest to one's character. I died with a smile on my face. I died without knowing the why of the madness that has seized me my entire life. But all you must know is this: that when death came for me, I was gracious in the way I accepted it. Mad with words, words, and words. And see,
Magnificent. Wow. Okay, how about all of you catch a break and grab dinner, then talk to Abhi afterwards and the news for tomorrow? And please ask you my script. God.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Isn't it strange that this player can express grief for my father better than I've been able to? It's monstrous that this piece of fiction that had written in a dream of passion can force his soul to conceit that I'll never be able to scale. Maybe after tomorrow, when the grief of my mother and father is laid to rest, I know what these empty benches will think of me, that here is a mad woman, a woman we're so glad not to see much more of again. But what they'll remember is not her madness, but how that man drowned the stage with his tears, appalled those who witnessed them and made the murderers guilty. I have written this play that plays upon something like the murder of my father. And I'll observe my mother's new husband's pupils. And if he has a guilty second, then I'll know what to do. I'll have grounds more relative than the beating of my own heart and my own suspicions over this tragedy. The play is the one thing where one might catch the conscience of the night.
and now we come to the fifth act of our own play. Acceptance. Could you turn down the lights a little? It's getting in my eyes. Thank you. You know, Hem, I always had a few too many sleeping pills in my cabinet. You always warned me of that. That's the first thing I wrote in the letter. For you to call my friend in the police. I made plenty of friends in plenty of places, but I've never had any use for them except for the company. But now, maybe in death, my absence would haunt them instead.
What are you talking about?
You want the truth? I prepared the food and took it in like he asked me to.
Your husband did. He poisoned him with the food he got on the fire.
No, I didn't.
And what were you two whispering about all night?
I sent him my divorce papers.
Condensed out. There was no point keeping up a sham of marriage anymore.
Sham?
He wanted the truth, right? He wanted to cut to the heart of it. Like I said, we had an arrangement.
I don't want to hear this.
I'm sorry, we never wanted you to find out.
I suppose I just got a bit complacent around people as well. I thought it had been too many years.
Too many people.
Too many secrets.
But it really wasn't about her by the end of it. I just knew it was my time. I often did in my life know when the time for what was. That's why I kept asking you to listen to what was true in your heart. Because even in the dead of the night, I tried to listen to mine. Nothing came back to me except silence. I guess I spent my life with my head so deep in these books and pages that they became the way I understood the world. But didn't. I didn't want you to turn into me, to have to look elsewhere because you spent too long not learning to listen to what was true in your own heart. Scribbling over the lines you read because you thought your mind could make up for the soul you had lost. That's what I wanted for David too. I thought leaving this place could have kept him alive. And you too, once you left in a couple of months, away from my shadow and the small world of petty people with pretty mouths. But I felt it that night, in my words. Not just the words on the page, but in my beating heart. I felt it right as my madness approached me.
I promised not to talk to him about our situation that night. Tenure was all he wanted for years. Just the security to read and teach about the things that he wanted to for the rest of his life.
Like all things, it came too late.
He still trusted me. I told him that we could look for options.
He knew me better than anyone else. I think that's why he also knew what I couldn't give to Ekakshi and what he could. But it really wasn't about them by the end of it. It was just about what was left between us. And by the end, there was nothing at all.
He always used to tell me, you'll end up just like me in the end. I never took him too seriously, you know. I didn't know if he meant it about Ekakshi and I and the arrangement or something else. He was just such a prick sometimes. But I still have a few years left. But I wonder if this all there is? Lectures to drowsy students, reading badly written papers, catching on to any glimpse of brilliance I can find because by that point that's all there is left.
The stagnancy of life can come for anyone, no? But if you want to remember that you're still alive, you just need to look in the mirror and then all around, not just at yourself. Because there's more to life than any of this. That night, when I had what I wanted most in the world, suddenly it didn't mean much anymore. Because I'd forgotten about everything else. It's 9:45 p.m. now. It's alright, folks.
I'm sorry I didn't mean.
You know, Ekakshi, Anwar tells me I'm a cynical man, that it consumes me. I guess I was consumed by my cynicism, the further away I drifted from my empty heart. And you were consumed by the emptiness in our marriage that it led to. Love. Love is built on heart, no?
I've never cared about it too much.
That's what you always say.
We don't have to do this tonight. The guests are outside.
They're lost in their own worlds. They can't hear us.
Doubt thou, the stars are fire. Doubt that the sun doth move. Doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love.
Didn't you always say about Hamlet? that the roots of our resentment lay elsewhere.
I know I did. And I tried to find them. Not just in my books. I looked into my eyes and then into yours. And all I saw was an emptiness there. You remember how we'd read our books in the lawns and promise each other that we'd go mad. But we could never feel empty around each other.
No marriage lasts on without a broken promise.
No marriage lasts on a broken promise.
You killed my father.
No, I didn't.
So full of artless jealousy is guilt. It spills itself in fearing to be spilled.
Neither of us cared.
You unpick. And you make yourself another.
You don't understand. I walked into the room
It's 10 p.m. now.
and he was dead. You wanted to know, right? Now you know.
I was the one who wiped the foam from his mouth. I just wanted him to leave the world with his dignity intact.
He did write something else just before he died. Yes, I guess you were always as smart as your father. He said it shone through the most in your eyes. And he was so jealous when people said you got them from me.
You know, even when I was reading those children's books to you, and you'd somehow already outgrown them, I looked into your eyes, and I knew even through your resentment that you would end up being special.
And I was so proud of you. And of myself for never being the reason that that light went out of your eyes. Until 2 months ago. But you must know that I didn't mean it to. I never could.
He left a letter.
He was smiling then too, when I found him. But his eyes were open. I closed them and took away the letter. And I vowed to myself to never let you know. It was going to be the last secret your father and I shared. But I guess his death should have been reason enough to make me see the truth. You can never hide secrets once they reek of tragedy.
It is time for you to find out the truth now. Madness in grade ones must not go unwatched.
I don't want to.
Scribble over the lines. Make more meaning of my life than I ever could. That's what this entire night has been about anyway, no? I can't guide you anymore. I'm gone.
Why did you have to? You were the only one who ever believed in me, the only one who told me to hold on when everyone wanted me to let go. And then you just let me go.
To be honest, as this world goes, it's to be one man picked out of 10,000.
We all looked at you and snickered at your manners. But I knew that in a department where everyone had grown up in families and walls, where they never have to look outside of a book, you had a reason to look into one. To build a life for yourself. And somewhere deep down, I knew that we respected that about each other.
Dreams indeed are ambition. But it is the very substance of the ambitious that is merely the shadow of a dream.
I'd lost faith in my own mind until you taught me how to trusted, how to take a leap of faith again. This is the only reason I even continued with this line of work. Found my life for myself. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
This above all else. To thine own self be true, that it must follow. Like the night, the day, that thou canst not be false in front of any man. You see how they intrude upon this moment of madness. They've always seen me as more than just your father. And they'll look at you and see you for much more than what you are too.
They don't know you like I do.
Just remember, there's more to life than any of this.
But this helps me make sense of it all.
It's hard after a while. Trying to remember the time from back when you still didn't have a daughter. I guess I forgot a lot of the reasons that made me a father by the end of it. It's 10:05 now. In 5 minutes, Ekakshi will walk in. In another 5, you'll find out your father is dead. You'll discover a death most foul. If you're reading this letter, I've doomed myself already. I've never been articulate on the spot, but I know soon I'll walk into the dead of the night till the crimes committed in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. I don't regret much. I could tell you tales that warm your heart or freeze your young blood. I had a struggle of a life while growing up. Much different to the kind of struggles you had when you were young. We've both always been solitary souls though. I grew up seeing the worst in people. That is the only way to survive where I lived. Something was rotten there. The people there didn't let me see the beauty of life very well, except in cheap second-hand books I bought with my own pocket money. At least there I knew what I was getting myself into. I wish I could be there to see you grow up in another world, and so that you could begin seeing me as much more than just your father. So I could give you these stories of my own. But as fate would have it, your father would be most dead and unnatural and foul by the time you're any more grown up than you already are. I cannot fathom such a time. And so, I must do what I'm doing. I got my Alzheimer's diagnostics a couple of weeks ago. And no longer though, longer than the whispers about it in the department. The serpent of time has stung your father's life. He'll eat away at the crown of my intellect, the one thing that gave me meaning even as my heart fell silent. I walk into rooms not knowing where I am. I forget where my lectures are supposed to lead me. I forget appointments. I forget essays. I forget what my appointments are. I forget what the essays on my table are about. I forget which book I'm reading. I cannot live like this. I wish I was braver than my decision to die now. Poison of my brother's witchcraft has illusioned my wife. I never thought such a time would come. She sent me my divorce papers this morning. I always thought my mind could give her the company she could keep coming back to. But maybe I grew too neglectful. like I have grown neglectful of all the people around me. I began to resent them. What if my mind slips, I thought, and my soul goes into being one of them again? I don't want to be the kid from the poor town, or the kid who seeks the guidance that he can never get, or the one that pushes everyone away because they think it's alright, because they think they don't need anyone until it's too late, and that family has drifted beyond recognition. I've always been them in some ways, just as they've been me. And they are you too in different ways. Do not resent them. You'll grow resentful of life itself, seeking a better reflection of some of these books I made you grow up with. Trust me, you'll find nothing. If I'm being honest, I don't know why I leave it up to you to find my body. Someone else does, let her have this letter anyway. Call the number. Make sure no post-mortem revives my body. You'll understand. I do not wish to be carved upon the way I've set incisions upon everything I've set my eyes upon. Let the world move on. I can feel myself slipping away now. I can scent the morning air. So I know you're deep into the unconscious of the night. I'm afraid of what will happen to me if I slip into it again. But it's not much worse than the dawn that will greet me if I don't. So farewell, dear Ham. I could not tell you the why of my madness in 1,000 years. And even if I could, I've forgotten by now. Just promise me one thing. Help. Remember. You have no words for me.
Why?
I could not tell you the cause of my madness in 1,000 years. And even if I could, I've forgotten by now. But what's done is done. Oh, good name, Lata. What a wounded name. You never believed me, but your mother took me chosen. If you ever held me in your heart, draw your breath in pain as you tell my story. Make more meaning of my life than I ever could.
I don't want to. I just want to let the people know.
And you, I never was a father of a few words. I held back when I shouldn't have. But that was so that you could plant your own feet in the ground and your head in the clouds. So that you could be a strong woman and begin listening to what was true in your own heart. And you must let it seize you now and let it grow stronger and stronger. Because that's the only way to know you're alive.
Please don't go. Please.
You're so much older than I remember. It's as if I've seen you after so long.
You're running away.
Maybe. But I get to die now. To die. To sleep. A chance to dream.
God, you're such an ass. Till the end.
Maybe I just let the madness seize my tongue sometime. Could you promise me one thing, Ham? Take care of your mother for me. She pretends like she doesn't need it, but we all do, don't we?
I need to thank you.
That's all we have for each other. a little bit of kindness. We forgot to show it to each other by the end of my life. But we were still us. We all are.
Tragic.
You'll remember me better with time.
Tragedy can come for me too.
Tragedy can come for all of us. No? Remember what I taught you here. And the rest was always just silence. Just you, with the sound of your true beating heart.
Alas, poor father. I knew him, you know. A fellow of infinite praises, of the most excellent words. But as long as my weight was out, he had borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now. How poor in my imagination is. My God rims at his weight. Here lie words written with the fingers held when I crossed roads I know not how off. Where are your words now? Your quotes, your pulp movie references, your dad jokes that would always set the table alight. Not one now to make sense of your own tragedy back to you. Your words fell short and now they linger. Now get you to my mother's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick. To this favor, all her love will come as well. Make her laugh at that.
Let 4 actors bear Hemlata. In the absence of her father, for she is likely, if put on the podium, to prove most intellectual.
For her beating heart, this night of loss, speak loudly for it. Take up her memories.
Such a sight as this becomes the stage of grief, but here shows much amiss.
We wonder where a sudden madness came from.